Okay, so the way I want to handle this is I first want to go over the update that was 2 days ago. We talked about this a little bit on Tuesday. I didn't really focus on it. I because I don't like the way they do this. Let me take off my hat. Let's be polite. Uh I don't like the way they do this. They always put out a what to expect in the points update like several days before the actual update. I think when they do this, they think they're being more communicative, and the fact that they have a detailed list of why they are hitting things is good. Do not get me wrong. It is good they have a detailed list of why they are hitting things. I think putting it out before they have the actual list out is a mistake. Because they don't actually tell you what they're hitting them to and how they're hitting them, why they're hitting. They just tell you why they're hitting them. They don't tell you any of the other stuff, right? So what they do is they let you get preemptively mad about the things they may or may not be hitting, and then they tell you what they actually hit. And I think that's fucking insane. I think that's an insane way of doing things. And then if you look at the Genesys tag on the Yu-Gi-Oh blog, this is all they're putting out now. It is just what to expect. Here's the update. What to expect. Here's the update. What to expect. Here's the update. And then some stuff about recaps for why don't we have the recaps anymore, right? Why don't we have the answering some of your questions? Why don't we have any of the other things we had at the beginning of the format now? They were doing so good at the start. Yeah. They were. They were doing really well. And they just decided to stop doing that and start separating out the explanation for why they're hitting the cards. I don't necessarily hate the fact that they separate out the points update and the why we're doing points as two separate blog posts. They should just be posted on the same day. That's all I want. I get doing them separately because then you have one clean one that shows you all the points, and then you have one that just gives you all the explanation. Fine, that's fine. I just don't like that they're on separate days, right? That's the only reason I can figure for why they're doing this, other than just using it as a way to bloat the blog section to make it look like they're still being responsive, right? But I think the other explanation is that they're doing it so they can react to the response of how people react to the explanation. But I don't know that they're doing that, considering what we see here in the points update. I don't know that we're actually getting that. So let's go over what we have here. They said we're not going to hit stuff in Mesa Muertos except for Gaze of Timaeus. That's not exactly true. They do hit one other card, but it's a fine card. It's in the same vein. I think that's fine. This is correct, by the way. You should not be hitting most of Mesa Muertos because most of those cards are not good enough to be considered hitting. And then they go into usage rate. They go into their main philosophy for this points update is on usage rate. And I just think this is so wrong-headed. Usage rate is, I think, in my opinion, the most useless statistic for determining what to hit in a ban list or points update or whatever. Win rate, I could maybe see an argument for. We have a little bit of win rate stuff. But usage rates, like using low usage as a way to determine when you can bring stuff back and high usage as a way to bring stuff down, I think that's completely wrong-headed. It's just a bad philosophy for this kind of like format. And I think what I'm getting from this and from the points, which we'll get into in a second, is that there is no consistent philosophy. There is just, except for if we see something a lot, we want to hit it. If we see something not enough, we want to unhit it. That's the only thing I see in this whole thing. This whole long thing is just like, Here's some statistics. Cool Tune was the most played. It didn't win very much, though, so we're probably not going to hit it as hard as we would have otherwise. It's all statistics. Everything is statistics. If you... I'm going to put the fucking hashtag Yu-Gi-Oh! Genesis on this video. If you're watching this and you're from Konami, and you're one of the people who's doing this stat stuff, I want you fired. Get rid of you. I want all the fucking stats people gone. Well, maybe not all of them. You can have a little bit. You can have a little bit as a treat. I want people who care about making the format fun. The format should be fun, not based on statistics. I don't give a shit about statistics. I don't care if everyone's playing Droll and Lockbird. If no one's playing Droll and Lockbird. I think nobody should be playing Droll and Lockbird. I don't care if everyone's playing DD Crow. People should be playing DD Crow. People should be playing Cosmic Cyclone. Those are fine power levels for the format. If they only look at stats, they may as well automate it like the stock market. Like, seriously. Like, they use a lot of statistics in the Master Duel ban list. But the thing about Master Duel is that Master Duel can collect so much finer statistics, like win rates of specific cards and such, that you can't really get to in Genesis format because of it being a paper format. And I think this is just the wrong way of going about it. And also, if you're not doing this or based around the idea of maximizing fun for the most amount of players, and you're just doing it based on statistics, you run the risk of not actually understanding why cards are played, which we'll get into when we look at the points. I think the idea of hitting FTKs and pseudo FTKs is good. That's the only other thing that's on here that really seems like a philosophy. They had a philosophy at one point of hitting a lot of floodgates. Yes, there was also info here about event stuff. I've saw some people saying that like changing the way events are run makes it feel like a side event instead of a main event. I don't think that's the case. Like, whatever. I think this thing about the lower power format is really annoying. I was hoping Genesis would be a lower power format. Can that be fixed? I think that's a legitimate thing to feel, right? This can already be done. Oh, really? Well, why don't you tell me how? One of the beautiful things about Genesis is that a tournament organizer can adjust the point cap. Setting the point cap to 50 or 25, just as examples, cuts the power level of the tournament's deck considerably. A 10-point cap limits the use of point-costed cards to only small point costs and only a handful of those. A 0-point cap cuts it out entirely. Ask your tournament organizer to try different point caps if that's what you're looking for. Do you know what happens if you run Genesis at 50 points? Cool Tune's the best deck. Monarch's the best deck. Same shit that's the best deck in the main format. Because the best deck in the main format aren't hit enough. The format is only balanced around 100 points. It's only balanced around 100 points. They have not done the work of balancing it around different points. And to be fair, that would be a lot of work to do. But if you're going to suggest it as a thing that they should do, you should balance it around that. You should do the work. Small indie company Konami can't fucking manage it, apparently. Cool Tune is not the best deck in the main format, no, because it's at 100 points. A lot of other decks can hose it, but if you lower it down to lower point caps, it is a really fucking good deck. I think Cool Tune is the most annoying. No, I'm talking about the main Genesis format, 100 points. God damn. I'm only talking about Genesis. I'm not talking about advanced tier at all. If I say main format, I mean the 100-point Genesis format. I'm talking about if you're doing what they suggest and lowering the point cap to 50 or 25 or 10. If you lower it to 0, Cool Tune, you can't play it because they have cards that are like 3 points. Of course, now that's changed. But yeah. But yeah, if you look, and then you look at the question here, what data do you use for point adjustments? It is tournament data first and foremost. And it's just, but like, I don't care what data they use for point adjustments. What do you use besides data? That's what I care about. What do you use besides data? And they don't have any answer for that. They're talking about Neuron. Like, oh boy, we're gonna get data from Neuron. That's gonna really fix the format. Annoying. So, a couple of annoying things here, but I was gonna wait because, like I said, I think the way they do these point updates, like what to expect in the point update, is like almost custom designed to make everyone mad. Like they put these out and they don't give you actual numbers, and so everyone starts getting mad about shit, right? And I was like, no, I'll just wait. I don't like the philosophy they are laying out, but I'll just wait. We'll see. And then we get this. All right. So here's the March point update. First up, we have Cool Tune hits. Cool Tune clip from 5 to 6. Now, to be fair, okay, I'm going to lay out my biases right here. I don't think Cool Tune should be playable in Genesys format at all. I think it is a deck that plays in a way that is just antithetical to how I feel Genesys should play. That's my thing. That is not necessarily their thing. It clearly isn't. And it's not necessarily anyone else's thing. I've seen plenty of people who think Cool Tune is cool and fine and like it. I don't. I think it sucks. I think Cool Tune sucks to play against. Yeah, well, I'm just explaining this for people who weren't here last stream. Cool Tune clip to 6, Cool Tune Q to 6 is those are two nothing hits, obviously. I want to say though, Cool Tune Synchro to 10 is actually a hit. I think people have been saying it's not a hit. I think I saw Scarlon say it's not enough of a hit. It is absolutely a hit. This Cool Tune Synchro to 10 means like 30 extra points all on its own. And Cool Tune Synchro is like a really important card for Cool Tune. It forces you to play Heralds. Yep. It's absolutely a hit to Cool Tune. I don't know if it's not enough for me because I want Cool Tune to not be able to play any hand traps at all. I think Cool Tune should be 100 points in engine by itself. But we're getting closer to that. Fine. Sure. Exosister Betrayal to 7, Exosister Pax to 5. So this is a little reshuffling. I like the reshuffling. I don't know if these are I don't particularly care about Exosister being playable. I think they need to hit Dimension Shifter more. Cool Tune needs tuner hand traps to be anything. Exactly. I don't want it to be anything. Yeah, I think the Exosister stuff is fine. Like, whatever. The shuffling, I think it's good that they're shuffling things around. I like that experimentation. Cool. The problem with Exosister is not the Exosister cards. Exactly, yeah. It is literally just a Cool Tune issue. I just don't like Cool Tune. I really fucking hate that deck. That's all it is. I will fully admit to that. That is fully my bias. I just fucking hate Cool Tune so much. At least in a Genesys format context. Zaborg, the Mega Monarch. So this is alongside Spellcard Soul Exchange and Steel Strings Sacrifice, the hits to Monarch. This is not enough at all. For those who aren't aware, about like the Monarch deck, there's actually like 3 different builds of it. There is the Zaborg one, which they've hit. The Zaborg one, I think, is still theoretically playable, but it is a lot less strong than it was. This is enough to end exactly one version of the deck. Exactly. Yes. But it does not end the hand loop version or the just like pure advantage version. I think the pure advantage version is mostly fine. I think it needs some hits to its main engine to like make it so it has to make some choices in its non-engine. But otherwise, it's mostly fine. It's really strong is the problem. It's just really strong. Nothing of it does is like particularly unfair, so to speak, but it is extremely strong. The hand rip one is very annoying though, and I don't know why we're not hitting. This is what I was talking about earlier, where like the Genesis people saw the Zaborg build of the deck and were like, Zaborg is the problem. We need to get rid of the Zaborg version of the deck. And they did not I don't think they realized, I don't know if they watched the footage or they just looked at the statistics and the deck lists. If they watched the footage, they would know that the hand rip version of the deck was probably better and is fucking annoying as shit. So I'm a little concerned about Monarch. I'm pretty concerned about Monarch hand rip or otherwise being a pretty dominant force in the current format. The hits to Soul Exchange and Steel String Sacrifice are nothing, but they don't do enough on that end. I think some of the main like actual Monarch cards needed to be hit as well. Radiant Typhoon Vision to 10 is definitely a hit to Radiant Typhoon. Vision is a really good card. Is it enough though? I don't know. I don't know about that. Radiant was already hit. Yeah, it is. It needs to be hit more. There's no way it does not need to be hit more. If you saw some of the gameplay in the tournament, Radiant Typhoon is just unbelievable. Archmage gets hit to shit though. Holy shit. 3 points on Assault, 3 points on Alteration, 5 points on Medius, and 5 on Thea Realize. Vision is the draw, yeah. So Thea Realize Medius is like, that's 30 points right there. Thea Realize, I'm pretty sure, was being played in Archmage specifically, right? Wasn't it? Wasn't Coder on Thea Realize? It hits 3 decks. It is crazy. Yeah. Not in Mage, but in Dooms. Okay. Isn't it funny that they call it Dooms in the fucking like all their like commentary? Isn't that awesome? They call it Dooms. It's fucking. I think it's incredible they're doing that. It's like Doomsday. Wow. Yeah, Nova. They're not calling it Doomsday. They're calling it Dooms. All right. Dracotail, Labubu, and Rahu to 10. Honestly, this might finally be enough for Dracotail to like be not in the top of the. But I don't know if it's. I feel like they could still hit it more. Even. I feel like they could still hit it more. Even. Only one White Forest hit is a little concerning. I feel like White Forest is. Like waiting in the wings for all this stuff to hit. Exactly, Burnug. It's a good hit, but it should have been more. White Forest to me is just waiting in the wings to like take over the format. I don't think because Monarch wasn't hit enough, it will take over the format, but it could very well be up in the top cut now because it's only got this one tiny little hit. The one problem I had with White Forest being in Genesis is it is kind of a build the board nonsense thing, even in Genesis format, and that's unfortunate. I've seen people like talking about the hits to punks. I think hits to punk are good. I think punk just is a really annoying deck in Genesis and deserves to be hit, even though it's maybe not being hit as much as some of the other decks that are better than it, right? I think that's fine. Punk has had plenty of play in Advance. It doesn't need to see play in Genesis format. And that's the same thing I feel about Dracotail. Like, I hit Dracotail harder. Make every card in Dracotail 100. That's fine. I don't give a shit. Pep is so fucking annoying. Yeah, exactly. Genesis, Regenesis. 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 We're getting a rebalance on Regenesis. It's the format's named after this archetype, you know. It's not. I don't know. I don't think decks that are as combo heavy as Punk should be in Genesis. I think we should, you know, cool them down a little bit, just a little bit. I don't know if that's actually true, Bernag. I think it's still perfectly playable with Vanquish Soul. You just have to rearrange the way you play the cards. In fact, one of the people I know who plays Regenesis says that it's harder to play it pure now than it was before. It's like harder to play it pure, so now you have to play it with Vanquish Soul, which is unfortunate. I get the idea of trying to rearrange the points in the archetype, but I think they did it the wrong way. It's just a rough. Yeah, no. To be fair, I don't know anything about Regenesis either. If I hadn't known that person who was saying that, I would know nothing about this. I would just be like, oh, okay, rearranging the points. That seems reasonable, you know. Yeah, I don't think you need to distribute the points so like thoroughly across the cards. Why don't they do this for most other like archetypes? Like, I feel like most powerful archetypes should have like a bunch of cards with 3 points on them. Then we get to non-engine. Ghost Mourner and Moonlit Chill from 3 to 5. Ghost Ogre from 3 to 4. Ghost Bell from 5 to 6. Effect Veiler from 7 to 8. Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring from 15 to 20. Droll and Lockbird, 25 to 20. Why? Just, why any of these? The Mourner hit is kind of insane. I guess it's kind of an Effect Veiler. Who wanted Droll back? Apparently a lot of people. I keep seeing people saying, actually, it's good that the Droll is going back to 20. Actually, it's good that the Droll is going back to 20. I think it's good that Troll is going back to 20. What? Who are you people? I am hydrated. Ash going up is fine. Yeah. I think it's fine for Ash to be an expensive thing in Genesis. I think it's a little weird that they're doing it just because it's being played. Like, it's like 15 points was already a pretty rough investment for Ash Blossom. It was seeing play because so many engine decks don't have points on them. If you point the engine decks, they'll stop running Ash Blossom. Ash is really good when it dissolves. Yeah. Is that a problem? Is it a problem that Ash, the 1-for-1 interaction, is good when it resolves? I don't think it is. And then Droll. I see a lot of people talking in chat. Yes, 20 is still a lot of investment for Droll and Lockbird. But that just means it punishes decks that are pointed and doesn't punish decks that aren't. Hold up, how am I? I lost myself in the sentence there. You get what I mean. It is punishing pointed decks and not punishing unpointed decks, which makes sense. That would make perfect sense, actually. If the way they distributed points made any sense. If the good decks were heavily pointed, it would make sense. But they aren't. They aren't. They're finally starting to get some points. They distribute points to push product. That is the one thing that seems to be the most clear to me about Genesys format. It is a clear and present pushing of new product. Just getting the third best cards in every set a place to play. And that's not what I wanted from Genesys. I honestly think Droll to 20 is worse than Droll at 25. At 25, it was basically unplayable. At 20, you might see it, but you'll never be prepared for it. You'll never be working around it. It'll just pop out of nowhere and say, "Hey, I'm Droll and Lockbird. Your turn's over." Yeah, Bernog, you have it exactly right. Mm-hmm. It's the same argument I have for why Maxi shouldn't be at 1. It should be at 0 or 3. It's the same thing in my opinion. It's just like, yeah, if it's at 3, or in this case, if it's at 20 point, or if it's at 5 or 25, I can either prepare for it or not. At 20, you could see an argument for playing it, even like just at 1 copy, and then it's just going to fucking end your turn because you're not prepared for it at all. So now you have to make that gamble. Do you prepare for Droll and Lockbird in every deck you play on the off chance you see it once? Or do you not prepare for it? And I don't think that's fun. I don't think that's a fun gamble to have to make. Okay, and then we have the other non-engine. DD Crow to 1. Cosmic Cyclone to 1. Dark Ruler No More to 2. Ultimate Slayer to 1. Mistaken Arrest to 10? Okay. Malong to 4. Garura to 4. Mirrorlogic Aggregator to 4. Okay. I think this sucks. I don't think DD Crow should have points on it. It's not a good card. The only part that is good about it is this right here. You see this part right here? This is what makes DD Crow good. This is what makes DD Crow playable. I don't think anyone's going to play it at 1. I don't think anyone's going to play it at 1. Cosmic Cyclone, I could see people playing it at 1. I could see people playing Cosmic Cyclone. It is a good card. But you could also play Twin Twister instead. It's not as good. It's not as good. But I could see people playing it. I don't know, because Cosmic Cyclone's at 1. I think you pick Cyclone over Crow every instance, and I don't think a lot of people are going to have 6 points available for DD Crow and Cosmic Cyclone. Dark Ruler No More, I would put at 1 point. I think it's fine for Dark Ruler No More to have points, but I would put it at 1 instead of 2. And I think the way to hit Slayer is to hit the good things it sends rather than itself. I think Ultimate Slayer should be 0, and then Malong and Garura and Aggregator get the points. And Garura should probably have more points because it's a Super Poly target. But Super Poly already has points. You know, it's kind of a... however you want to hit it, you know. You could do that. I just think that's worse than running 3 Cosmic and then something else. Although, I guess, what is your something else? Skullmeister? I don't know. I really hate that we're pointing the sideboard cards when we don't have, like, extra points for the sideboard cards. Mistaken Arrest, though. That's a good hit. Hit it more. Make this an extra 0. Put an extra 0 right here. Get this card out of here. That's exact. Yeah, Wobbler, that is very true. Putting points in the side is just miserable. Oh, Bernag, I want to say with that, you could make the choice of running, actually it was, Froki, with the hand trap over Cosmic with how many combo decks exist. I think the combo decks should not exist as they currently do. Where's Dim Fizz? That's a good question. And then we have a bunch of other crap. Book of Eclipse, 5 to 3. Cool. Book of Moon, 7 to 4. honestly, Book of Moon looking pretty playable at this point. Where's macro, shifter, soundproof? Yeah, there's a lot that's just missing. Darkhold 1 is like Darkhold feeling nice. Anyone feeling Darkhold at this point? Raigeki from 7 to 4 is cool. I like Daruma Karma Cannon at 1. I think that's a really good thing. Evenly matched to 7. Sure. I think evenly matched is kind of an unfun board breaker, but whatever. Imperm from 13 to 12 is funny. Peckertops to 5. I think that's good. IKS to 10 is actually really interesting. At 33, Interrupted Kaiju Slumber was like, you would never even consider it. This actually makes it something you might actually consider. I think that's really interesting. Mulch Armies. Look, if it's not Fool Loss, I don't think you're going to get people playing it no matter how low you... Unless you make it 0, I don't think people are going to play Meowls. And unless you make it like 5 or less, I don't think you're going to see people playing Perulia. Heavy Storm to 6. Sure, man, whatever. Feather Duster to 9. Fuck it, yeah. Lightning Storm to 12. They're trying their damnedest to make going second better. You get all these board breakers in exchange for every hand trap going up in points. Change of Heart to 6. Snatch Steel to 4. Monster Reborn to 4. Sure, whatever. Dragonic Diagram to 15. It's probably fine. They're trying to engineer board breaker format in real time. It is something they're trying to make happen. I don't know that it's going to happen even with these changes. Like that's exactly it, Froky. They're doing all this like lowering of board breakers to make going second better, but the fact they hit Slayer and Crow and these fuck ass hand traps and shit makes going second worse, even with the changes they made. I don't know. I do like that they're making consistency tools lower points. Dragonic Diagram to 15, Union Hanger to 15. I like that. I'm not a huge fan of the Hecka Hand unhits. I know they're not seeing play. I think Hecka Hands are just really fucking annoying in the way they play, and they shouldn't be in the format. That's why they were hit in the first place, because they do hand rip shit. They specifically said when they hit these cards that they do hand rip shit, and we don't want to see that in the format, so we're going to point them. Do you not care anymore? Is it just like everything, nothing matters except whether they see play or not? Do we have a ban list philosophy or not? That's the question I have. Do we have a philosophy as to what we want the format to look like, or is it purely data? And if it's purely data, I don't think I want to play. Shadows to 0, great. I think that's good. Fire King unhits. I think that's fine. I think Fire Hit King is a really cool deck in this format. And with the unhits to Dark Hole as well, interesting stuff. Sprite could be easily unhit. I don't know why Sprite has... I feel like you could unhit Sprite a lot more than it is currently. Same with Sword Soul, although, Sword Soul is going to get a little buff with that new trap that Tak was talking about, that synchro trap, synchro emergency, whatever the heck. Barrier the Voiceless Voice is probably fine. I haven't seen Voiceless Voice see much play. It doesn't seem particularly strong. Rhoda and Fossil Day going down. Great. They should go down more. I think consistency tools are awesome. I think consistency tools are really cool. We should be hitting ceiling instead of consistency tools. Hey chat, can you read Misk's number? Have you read Misk's number? Have you read Misk's number? I combined two memes. That means it's twice as funny. Six, seven. I think every Rhoda spell is unplayable unless they're like 10 points. Yeah, that's true. I think they should be like basic. I think they should be fucking 0 points. I don't fucking care about generic consistency tools. I think they should be allowed to be played. Yeah. So they lowered it to 6-7 and lowered Fossil Dig to 33 so that you can run 1 Fossil Dig and 1 Miscellaneous Source, and that's all your points. I don't know if any of you have played Dinosaur before. That is not good. That is not good. The misc is nice for GMX. That is absolutely true. It needs misc. You were able to do some stuff with Jurax sending misc instead, but this gives you frees up a lot more space in that, and it could theoretically let you do a Overraptor build instead. I feel like you'd rather play misc and Pank. Yeah, I think that is probably the case, or like any number of hand traps that you can actually fit in here. But misc is an absolute essential card in Dinosaur, so it needs to be playable for the deck to run. As I said in my GMX video essay, just fucking either point Miscellaneous Source appropriate to its power level, or get rid of it and print us another card that does the same summon effect. I am so fucking tired of Dinosaur being trapped in the shadow of Miscellaneous Source. I don't care about the fucking protection effect. I don't care about it. I just want the grave effect. Errata it to make it not have the protection effect. I do not give a shit. I do not give a shit. I don't care. Just no one does. Unfortunately, way too many people do. That is why they keep it at 6-7 and limited. I do not give a shit about it. I just want the extender. I just want the ability to play the deck. Okay, they hit unhit Blaster, Redox, Tempest, and Tidal. They ruined their funny joke by making all the 7 Dragon 7s and made them 5s now instead. They should change their levels, too, in a match. This is probably fine. I think someone was saying that they're just a build-a-board, but they're like a bad build-a-board, so I don't really give a shit. Discard misc. Ask your opponent how they're doing. True! That's what, just replace it with that. Hey man, you doing all right? You doing okay? We also have Melody Awakening Dragon going down. It's probably fine. All right, we have Dark Magician of Destruction going to 15 and Gaze of Timaeus to 1. Like I said, they lied a little bit. They are hitting some of the shit from Mesa Muertos. They're hitting Gaze to 1 like they said, but they're also hitting Dark Magician of Destruction. Those are fine. Those are fine hits. But they're also hitting the Makonko shit, like, really hard. Apparently they don't want Makonko in the format. That's crazy. Ohime is still at 33. Yeah, like, what the fuck? Makonko is like 216 points. They fucking hate Makonko so much. Also, sandwich to 3. Sandwich to 3. Trade into 5. Celestial Observatory to 5. Ixchel to 5. I've heard this is the wrong hit for Dark Lord, but sure. Engage to 7. Into the Void from 3 to 7. Toon Table of Contents to 7. Oh my god. Upstart Goblin to 7. They do not want you to draw cards without points. Which is fair, honestly. I feel like a lot of the just generic draw cards do need to have points. I could see Makonko being really powerful if they didn't hit it. I could see it happening. It's just funny how hard it is compared to everything else they don't hit. Yeah, trade into Upstart is for all the FTK. You will not play Exodia. I still think the correct hit for Exodia was to make the head 100 points. It doesn't hit Millennium at all. They can just play 2 legs. 2 of one of the legs. Hi, Kai. They could play 5 legs. Fuck it. Play 5 legs. They could make every single draw spell like 1 point and Exodia head 100 points, and that would solve the Exodia problem. without ruining Millennium, because they could just play more legs. The unstoppable Legzodia. Raider's Knight is a hit to Distant Coder specifically. In case you weren't aware, that's a hit to Distant Coder specifically. They said, hey, Distant Coder, you're too good at the game. You got to get out of here. You're the person winning with this card. You got to stop. Utopia double. Sure, I guess. This one's a good hit though. Fanatics Mechanics. You can't let this card exist. Yeah, well, so Raider's Knight is also an FTK tool. That's the thing about Raider's Knight is simultaneously an FTK tool and an OTK tool. Isn't that funny? Dark Eradicator Warlock is a Duel Links hit. Yeah. These two are really good hits. Just fucking get them out of here. Who gives a shit? Nobody who's playing Gimmick Puppet is doing anything that deserves to be rewarded. Can't let Gimmick Puppet exist in any way. Yeah, just get it out of here. So that's the list. I don't know. I'm frustrated by some of this. There's a lot that's fine in here. There's a lot that's perfectly fine. And like I think what I'm frustrated by is not necessarily these hits specifically, but the philosophy through which they are making these hits. There's like the reason why there are the misses that there are is because of their wrong-headed philosophy and the lack of certain cards. Yes. There is certainly cards that are lacking. The one everyone's been saying, Illusion Gate, stuff like that. So yeah, Fanatics, for those who are questioning, Fanatics is both a locking mechanism and an FTK mechanism. It does both. And yeah, the Dark Eradicator Warlock is a DMod add that FTKs. Yeah, I think Illusion Gate shouldn't have been a ton of points. It should have just been about the same amount as Dark Hole, or maybe slightly more, like 2 points, 2 or 3. But yeah, non-fusion area, soundproof, defissure, macrocosmos, shared ride. None of those got hits. They need to be hit at least a little bit. Dimension Fissure, I think the most of all of them. Defissure is the most egregious. The Testudo Turtles. They need to have hit Thestalos or just any of the Monarch stuff to make the hand rip not as like easy to do. It is, like I said, they're hitting some of the right stuff, but not all of it, which is a symptom of their philosophy, which is pure data. There is no like idea of what they want the format to look like. They just say, well, the chart says we do this. The data says we should hit this deck, so we'll hit these cards. Why? Do you know why you have to hit those cards? Excel-based format. It's not even a vibes-based format anymore. Did they watch the SEMO video and were like, oh no, we can't have a vibes-based format. We got to make this data-based. It needs to be more vibes-based. Bring back vibes. Bring back vibes. That's the thing about the vibes-based format complaint that was so bizarre. Every format is vibes. That's where fun is. It's just vibes. Good vibes are how you make fun. You can't mathematic your way out into fun. You can't math your way into fun unless you enjoy doing math, in which case you can math your way into fun. But you know, that's for you, right? That's for you, not for everyone else. Shout out to math. Mathematical. See, that's what I'm saying, Beals. That's for you though. Like that's not for you. Can't math the format into a fun format. There's no formula. It's like it reminds me of that one post where it's like they're talking about like something they're like, oh God, what is the structure of it? But they're like, something happens, and then the fat kid's like, I love food. They write out like the fat kid says, I love food, and the smart kid says, I think according to my calculations, E equals MC fun. That's what it feels like. They're trying to do E equals MC fun. Yeah. Hey there, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I've got a lot more for you if you want them. Just hit that subscribe button and ring the bell to get notifications. I'd also appreciate if you left me a like and a comment and maybe shared the video around with your friends. You can also follow me on all the usual social media sites. Just check out my website in the description below for more info. My videos are funded by my patrons, Ko-fi subscribers, and YouTube members, whose names you'll see scrolling by in these credits here. For just $1 a month, you too could find yourself here, trapped in my end screen for all eternity, among other benefits. In particular, I'd like to thank Jeremy Coatney, Frog Prince Michael, Fleakill, Haru Hayes, the Almighty Ferret Lord, Fire Mizumi, Beastman, Bryn, and Beelzis. A big thanks to all my patrons and to my little community as a whole. Remember to be kind to yourselves, be kind to others, and have a wonderful whatever time it is for you. Bye-bye!